Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Welcome. It is Wednesdays, what I like to call Wisdom Wednesday. Getting a little tongue-tied here. Really excited about this week being, number one, a short week because we have the 4th of July, and I am heading off to Essence Fest, where I have the amazing opportunity to speak on a couple of panels. But today I just wanted to come to you and give you your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D. And today we continue the theme this week on talking about freedom. And it's really interesting because, of course, the 4th of July is tomorrow. And with the 4th of July being tomorrow, a lot of people are thinking about Independence Day and spending time with their families, barbecuing, the pool, the beaches, music fest, and all of the freedoms that they enjoy, especially if you're an American citizen. But what I want to speak to is that although we experience some external freedoms, one of the most depressing pieces of this holiday season, this festive season, is that many, and sometimes even including myself, I feel trapped in bondage by my internal non-freedoms and that inability to get past what's going on in my head to really begin to show up for myself and others. And I say that because on the outside, we're celebrating, we're eating our ribs and we're eating our tofu or whatever it is that you choose to have for the holiday season. You're barbecuing, you're smiling, you have your red, white, and blue on, and all seems well in the world, the external world. But in the quiet moments and when you're alone, what's going on in your head and with that inner critic and that inner bully and the frustrations and the angst and the anxieties is a whole nother story. So that's why I really want to speak to you today about what is freedom. Is freedom only something that we enjoy, the right to bear arms, the freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and all those pieces? Is that really just what freedom is about? Or is freedom more about the ability to choose what's best for you because of you, considering yourself first so that you can live an optimal life and you can experience true joy? And as I begin to think and ponder about what is freedom look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Even what does it taste like? And I say even taste like because you'll have desserts and cupcakes and cookies and bake-offs, but yet because you are trying to lose weight or you have certain body images or you have certain dietary restrictions because of certain goals that you have, you don't feel free to indulge. So these are all the things, again, I don't know about you, that's just been kind of running around my mind as the idea and the concept of freedom was placed upon my heart this week to speak to. And I started to ask myself, are you really free? Are you really free? And what does that look like to be free? And, big drum roll is that, in all honesty, no, not free at all. Not totally and completely. I do experience certain freedoms, but there's so much going on in my head en masse that even the freedom to be still and be quiet is disturbed by this chaotic noise and voice that I should be doing something. And I said, okay, wow, that's why I'm tired. That's why, I feel like I'm constantly going and going and going. And, full transparency that often, and for me to even sleep and relax, even with meditation, I have to have a glass of wine. Well, I don't have to have it. I enjoy a glass of wine because it just makes me more mellow, and it now makes me actually sleepy, and it slows my brain down, where I could actually begin to engage a little bit more with being in a restful state. So even that freedom to go to sleep when I want is impaired by the fact that I end up utilizing some sort of additive to get me there. So as I sat here this week going, wow, what am I going to do about it? If I'm not feeling free, if I'm not feeling like I can truly operate authentically and living my very best life on my terms, what am I going to do? What action am I going to take? And that's how I approach situations and circumstances. When I start thinking about it and processing it and journaling it, I start to begin to implement a laser focus and a sense of clarity. I apply that to that situation, but I always start with myself. And I start to say, okay, so let's start with the C and the C3 blueprint, the clarity piece. What do I know? What do I know about what's going on? What do I know is that have I truly decided to be present? Am I truly and honestly being present in the moment and not trying to think so far ahead or dwell so far about the past that it's, causing an issue with my current, with my present? Is that why I don't feel free and why I have an inability to slow my brain down? Is it angst and anxiety in regards to some choices that I need to make or I want to make? So I just got to start to sit down and I start to jot it down. So one of the first things to do when you find that your thoughts are holding you in bondage and restricting your ability to just really be free and be in the moment is to start to put it on paper. And so I grab my little trusty notebook and I start writing down what's really going on. How are you doing? What's going on, girl? What's going on? What's in your head? Get it out. What's in your head? And so once I do that, then I begin to be able to pinpoint those pain points and bring some clarity to the situation. And I shared before, and I think that this still stays rooted in where I'm at currently, is that I feel stalled in between where I know I'm growing to and where I have to be right now. And it's frustrating. So I don't feel free. I don't feel free to make some choices that I would like to make. Now, let me clarify that. Can I make the decisions and the choices? Absolutely, I can make them. But with those choices, there's consequences, good or bad. There's responsibilities, there's duties, and all of that other stuff that comes with it. So really, it's the freedom to then operate at the level where I need to do and what I need to do. So it's just all of that junk. I don't know about you, but I sit sometimes with myself and I just process through because I'm grumpy right now. I feel more snappish and irritated. And because of that, when I feel like that, I have to go back and ask myself, girl, what's going on? And when I scaled down, I just started saying, I feel trapped. I feel completely trapped. Trapped with where I believe my obligation and my responsibilities to my family and to my financial well-being is somehow caught into where my passion and my purpose lies. And will my passion bring a paycheck? Absolutely. But the time that goes, I want it now. And it's a growth process. And I have been so busy building others' brands and their businesses that when I then have to turn and look at, okay, what about building yours? And we're talking about scaling versus selling. We're talking about not having to always be in that present moment to be able to reap a return. And so when I start to think about, okay, you need to do that for yourself. You need to take that time to do that for yourself. And whenever I begin to buckle down and set the time and put the constructs in place for myself, then situations and circumstance and life begins to happen. And when I say that, there's opportunities for growth, because sometimes there's not opportunity for successes, there's opportunities for growth. And it gets frustrating. So once again, I don't feel free to really do what I really want to do. And often I jokingly say, you know, I need a sponsor. I need a sponsor who will pay all my bills, make sure financially everything is all set, so then I could just really get into the meat and the potatoes and dig deep and make things happen. But that's not the reality. So, what to do? So now that I've begun to write those things down, what is really frustrating me? Where do I feel stuck? Why don't I feel free? Is this, happening in these particular places? Then the next step is step 2, is to begin to set a strategic action plan. Because I always say, okay, now what are you going to do about it? So I've begun to block off non-negotiable time for me. And when I say non-negotiable, I mean it's really non-negotiable. And so when people say, hey, here's a free ticket, you want to go do this, you want to go do that? Sorry, it's my non-negotiable time for me. And because of that, I have begun to see a shift. And I've begun to see doors open. And I've begun to feel free to take some risk. You see, because really, what it boiled down to, when I got quiet with myself and I started jotting things down and I started setting the strategy, what started to push back is when I started to process the risk factor. So it's that risk factor, right, that keeps us from leaping, taking action, walking in our truth, being passionate about our purpose. It's the risk that we don't want to deal with. And so I said, oh, okay, now I got some clarity. And then when I started to ask myself about the risk, what am I afraid of? You do this for other people. You're wicked in this space. You are great at doing this. So what is it? And I said, oh, okay. Is that there's a timeline involved? But what if you don't do it? What if you don't take the risk? What if you don't? And so what I had to get clarity about was that getting out of my own head, getting out of my own way, knowing what I'm called to do, how I'm called to serve, knowing and understanding who I am, becoming very confident, and knowing that I can mitigate certain risk, but the risk is part of the growth. And so I said, take a chance on you. And get in for the long haul. It might not be an overnight thing, but guess what? It's going to be so worth it. And begin, which is the third thing, to be consistent and show up. And I am so proud to say that we've hit over our 1,000K mark for Walking Through Glass, the podcast. And it wasn't until I began to be very consistent about showing up every day, Monday through Friday, to share that daily dose of vitamin Dr. D, and share what it's like to truly walk through the glass and process through whatever's in the head for that day, that the numbers begin to change. And now I have a new challenge. It's hit the 1K. Now by the end of July, want to be able to hit 5K. And so those of you listening, I need your help. I need you to share. So part of that being free to take the risk was also being free to say, hey, I need your help. So one is writing it down, getting out of your head, putting things on paper, kind of identifying what those issues could possibly be. Developing the confidence to realize that even with the risk involved, it's still going to be a win. Even with the risk, it's still going to be a win. So keep showing up. And that third thing is be consistent. And the exponential factor of consistency is immeasurable, because when you keep showing up, it's compounded consistency that you have to begin to employ on this journey, especially the entrepreneurial journey. So, as I walk through the glass, knowing that I am not alone, and encouraging you with the fact that you're not alone either, I want to leave you with this Wisdom Wednesday nugget, is that if you don't choose to bet on you, take the risk, free your mind and yourself from any and all things that's telling you that you're not worth the risk, then it will be nearly impossible for other people to bet on you. So today, I challenge you, I encourage you to be free, bet on you, take the risk, and process the journey. Because when you embrace it and see the opportunities for growth there, it shows you where and how you need to level up. So that's what I have for you on this Wisdom Wednesday. And I hope this daily dose of Vitamin Dr. D was just as helpful for you as it was for me. And again, we're going for 5K. So please, not only like and share, but please comment. Leave a review. Share with 10 of your friends and ask 10 of their friends to share with 10 of their friends. Okay? So that's your Wednesday for Daily Dose of Dr. D. And until tomorrow, it'll be Independence Day. But you know what? I am still bringing you your Daily Dose of Vitamin Dr. D because I'm looking for that compound consistency in my life. So have a great day, be amazing, and stay unapologetically authentic. Bye-bye.